All right, guys, so let's dive right into it. We've got a real head-turner from The View that's sparking some major controversy.
What bothers me is the capitulation that's going on everywhere. I mean, at this point, Michelle, Nancy, Kamala, and Karen Pence are standing up against Trump. The men are folding like cheap suits.
It's the women. Yes. It's just
the
like
women.
And by the way,
I just want to say, this is not a normal inauguration.
No.
This is not a normal person.
Right.
He's a convicted felon. Why do they go as if this is a normal inauguration? It's not.
If you missed it, Joy Behar, one of the longtime hosts, didn't just discuss, but kind of, threw some serious shade at Donald Trump's upcoming inauguration. And it was, well, let's just say, it's become a pretty big talking point. So here's what happened. During a recent episode, the topic of Trump's inauguration came up, and basically Joy didn't hold back. She called it not a normal inauguration, and went as far as labeling Trump a convicted felon, even though he, isn't. Her comments didn't just stop at Trump, though. She went further, targeting the guests attending the event as if they were doing something wrong just by, showing up. The thing is, these sharp remarks weren't just a one-off. They kind of reflect a deeper divide that's sort of being felt across the nation. How do I put this? Her rhetoric seems to have, once again, kind of drawn a line in the sand, and yeah, people are talking.
That 75 million Americans voted for Trump. That is the normalization. Nancy Pelosi's attendance or lack of attendance is not what is going to normalize him. And I think the sooner that we wake up to the fact that the governing reality, the world we exist in next week, is Donald Trump as president, and Democrats still have powers. There's still things they can do in Congress. There are still things they can be engaged on. But that,
I don't buy it.
I guess take your phone and go home.
Can I ask something? Has Nancy Pelosi said, I'm not going because I think he's a convicted felon and I don't want to be part of normalizing this oath? Or has she just said, I'm not going?
No, but she also didn't say it's because I'm too
so then
old.
We are
because
assuming that she's not going for that. But
These words got a pretty shocking response from the audience, with applause ringing out like she was some kind of truth teller rather than someone pitching fiery insults.
Obama is living her best life, and I think she has learned to put herself first and put her mental health first.
Yep.
I think there's a lot of Americans who feel exactly the same way, which is why news viewership and things like that have gone down dramatically because people are checking out. I think Michelle Obama sat there, did her job when she was the outgoing First Lady. When she was the outgoing First Lady, she had the Trumps to the White House. She was nice. She played nice. She went to the inaugural. She sat through that insane speech about American carnage. All her pictures are like, what am I listening to? So I think this time she's saying, boo, been there, done that. You're solo on this. I'm out. I'm going to do what's best for my mental health. And I think she's fine to do that, And by the way, and I think every American who wants to do that, if watching the inaugural is going to be bad for your mental health, go do something that's going to be good for your mental health.
Now let's zoom out for a second, think about the bigger picture here.
I have no problem with Michelle Obama not going. I think that it's critical that all former presidents and vice presidents attend. I think it signals to the world that despite a very tumultuous political season, that America moves forward and we're going to have a safe and secure transfer of power, despite Donald Trump in 2020 and what he did after January 6th. But I think as spouse, she served her time. I don't think that she's obligated to be there. But it was also reported that Nancy Pelosi isn't attending. And I think it's a missed opportunity for two reasons. I think that showing that the country is still going to move forward, even if the person you didn't want to win wins, even if you have grave concerns about who they are. But also, she is still a leader among Democrats. She's a sitting lawmaker, and while she's not speaker, she's speaker emeritus. I think it's kind of signaling almost Democrats retreating when there is something powerful to showing up and saying, we're here, we're going to sit here, listen to him take the oath of office, be sworn in, but we also exist. There's also a counter and an alternative here. To me, that just feels like an odd missed opportunity.
Joy's words dig into the heart of a tradition that's really key to American democracy, the peaceful transition of power. It's a tradition that says no matter what, we respect the result and we move forward. But Joy's comments seemed to dismiss all that in one breath. I mean, isn't it interesting how, when it comes to respecting electoral outcomes, there's a bit of sort of selective memory going on? And it wasn't just Trump or his planned ceremony that she criticized.
the friggin' globe when you have presidents that say just because of this we're not gonna America
take our
voted.
ball and go
The
home.
normalizing of President Trump happened when the American public went out and voted and picked
okay,
him.
let me say
That's
this
what
about
The
happened.
Germans
Michelle.
voted also.
I think
Her disdain landed on the 75 million Americans who cast their vote for him. I mean, her remarks seem to paint these voters as though they're just accomplices in some grand wrongdoing. And that's honestly kind of hard to swallow. It makes you wonder why there wasn't any channel, like, for a real conversation instead of, just riling up emotions. This isn't like it's the first time Joy used her platform to roast not okay with her conservatives. Over and over, she's made those kinds of provocative statements that seem to polarize rather than unite. What do you think? Like, should a show with such reach focus more on building bridges instead of, sort of, walls between opinions? Now, back to The View itself. The show's kind of always been about lively debates, right? But this time, it felt more like a missed opportunity. By standing firm in one ideological corner, it risks alienating viewers who don't share those viewpoints. I mean, shouldn't there be room for all voices if the show really means to represent diverse perspectives? The fallout from these comments has been, well, quite the spectacle. Viewers from different political spectrums have jumped on social media, venting their frustration and calling for more balanced discourse. Isn't it intriguing how a show meant for diverse viewpoints gets stuck in its own one-sided narrative? So, yeah, people are talking, and not all of it is good. At the end of the day, The View's handling of this has left some wondering about the true intentions here. Was it about headlines, ratings, or genuinely tackling the heart of, democracy? The uproar is real, and if anything, it's prompted a broader conversation about political discourse in media today.
I just want to add to what you said, Joy.
Yeah.
It's not about taking your ball and going home. It's not about being childish. It's about normalizing a man who refuses to do the normal things that presidents do. And he is going to continue to do that. And I think that it is perfectly appropriate, if he felt it was perfectly appropriate, to skip his successors, rightful successors' inauguration. Also, he thought it was appropriate to keep that successor from coming to the White House and receiving him from the White House. Why does he get to be congratulated? Why do the norms apply to him?
But the point you made.
Anyway, folks, that's the scoop. What do you think about Joy's take and the stir it's created? Is it fueling important conversations or just, more division? Let us know in the comments below because, seriously, we want to hear your take on this one.